educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to Dr. Judy WTF, and I am your illustrious host, Walt Luskin, and as usual in studio is Dr. Judy Rosenberg. Today we have a really interesting show. We're going to go through some stuff regarding Hole in the Soul, and we are, as usual, going to shrink that tune. We've got a tune by Linkin Park. We've shrunk one of their tunes before. I know it's one of Judy's favorites in terms of a group. And this is a call-in show. If you want to get on the couch with Dr. Judy, call in early, right? Call in early and call in often. The phone number is 323-284-7826. 323-284-7826. And those of you who do call in are going to get a free copy of her brand new book. It's a fiction book, hot off the press, called Lucid Darkness. So today, you want to get on the couch and don't be shy. So Judy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I hope I can make it through the tail end of my cold. So if I sound extra sexy tonight, so be it.
Yeah, you sound sexy
Thank
today.
Thank you. So yeah, this is a continuation of the Hole in the Soul series, and I want to talk a little bit about that and the mind map that I created many years ago that is specifically dealing with healing the hole in the soul, because the hole in the soul starts from mother-infant disconnect.
Yeah, well,
that is
from day one, as we're going to talk about early. We're going to hit on a little bit after some current stuff. We're going to do preemies. So I mean, it's from moment one.
From moment one, and now they're getting very intricate about how birthing should occur. And I really admire the doulas of the world and the pediatricians who support births that are non-traumatic in nature, that keep the belly button intact, that actually deliver the placenta with the baby, and in some cases they're doing what's called lotus birthing, which means that they're keeping the placenta actually next to the mother until the belly button dries off. And this
I think mine just did last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a really momentous moment.
Another occasion for a party. Okay.
You know it.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So this is kind of like many decades later, people finally saying, oh my God, we've been doing it all wrong. Not only shouldn't we have stopped the breastfeeding and stopped the planned cesarean sections and stopped the...
What? I can't pick my birthday of my child?
That's a lot of women do.
I know.
Not only do women, but doctors do, because they will plan the birth around the convenience of the doctor.
Of course, whatever's convenient for the doctor.
Yeah, I'm going on vacation, so let's get that baby out before I leave. Mm-hmm. And a lot of mothers will say, okay, they'll go for that.
Well, they love their doctor, and they don't want to change, and they don't want to upset the apple cart. And so, hey, what's a day or two and a couple of stitches?
And you know something, this is all about misinformation. Because if people understood bonding and attachment, they would not be doing what they're doing. And again, we're now seeing the other side of the coin, where people are going the other extreme, and they're having home births. They're having
wed mothers are midwives are huge.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are obviously more sensitive to the needs of the mother-baby bond and much more attuned to that. So yes, the hole in the soul comes from mother-infant disconnect. And just to reiterate, like I always like to do on each show, what we need to have for mental health. The mental health of the human psyche requires that we get eye contact, skin-to-skin contact, that we have consistency, that we have unconditional love, which also is shown up in the consistency, that there's a sense of attunement or mirroring the child. What I mean by that is when the baby smiles, mommy smiles. When the baby starts talking, the mother responds, and there's just a kind of a musical flow between mother and baby.
Well, it's the development of the relationship.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then the other part of this is that the father plays a very important role.
You think?
I think. Right. And one of the things that's often missing is the role of the father. And in many families, of course, the father is non-existent
Yes.
in the relationship.
Yes.
And what happens is that after birth, a mother needs the emotional support of the father to help her through the hormonal adjustments and the social adjustments of being a mother. And if the father is absent, then she has to pull all of this energy out of herself.
Well,
and
she's giving everything she's got to a newborn baby.
Right. So she's now being the giver, and she doesn't have the nurturance
nothing to
for
replenish.
herself. And if she has not received enough nurturing in her own childhood, then this creates even more trauma because she's running on empty. She didn't get, now she has to give, and she's not getting any support. So it's not a good dynamic.
And you wonder why
it's
there's
not
a lot
a good
of,
system.
No, and you wonder why there's a lot
attachment.
of postpartum depression as a result of the delivery of the baby, is because mom's just toast.
Yeah,
She's
and
just
I'm
drained.
really surprised that not enough is spoken about the fact that postpartum depression is not just a physical phenomenon. It is an emotional phenomenon. And the less support a mother has from father and extended family,
extended family.
and especially if there's a financial crisis, if father's not around, for example, and she not only has to go back to work.
Right away.
Now we've got a kid in childcare. So now the kid is detached from mother. We've got a mother that is playing both the male and the female role in the family. We have no breastfeeding or very intermittent breastfeeding at best. And so now we've got the next generation of damaged children who are detached from their mother, and the hole in the soul
And they've got a lot of
widens.
holes in the soul widens, which is
Right.
actually a couple of issues this week in news we thought we'd touch on in terms of the widening hole in the soul. And the first one is, if you haven't been under a rock for the last week, a Academy Award actor, Philip Seymour Hoffman, at the age of 46, was found dead in his $10,000 a month apartment in Greenwich Village in New York, with a needle in his arm and a spoon that used for cooking heroin in his apartment. And they figured it was an accidental overdose because he had between 50 and 70 envelopes, if you will, of heroin, which he'd bought probably the last couple of years. And
So he had a huge supply.
He had a huge supply. There was like I think it was 5 or 10. No more than that, envelopes that had been used probably for this last gig he did.
Wow.
But he was going to meet with his kids. He's a father. He had a costume designer, a relationship with a woman for 15 years, and 3 children.
So he wasn't married to this
No, he
woman.
wasn't married.
I see.
No,
Okay.
he 70 bags of heroin and 20 hypodermic needles and 5 prescription drugs. He had high blood pressure and stuff, and even some drugs to kick the habit. He actually went to Narcotics Anonymous on a regular basis for years, and tried to kick the habit, and realized that it was a problem. And when looking at his background, he said that what was interesting about him being an actor, one of the lines I really liked is it's like Picasso said, "I do the impossible because everyone else does the possible." I'm not saying I'm Picasso, but in theater, he loved theater, is doing the impossible. He had a pretty stable relationship when he was younger. His father was, worked, and his mom worked and whatnot. But at age 22, when he was in college, he said he abused anything he could get his hands on, and he liked it. And that was when he went into rehab for the first time at age 22, so over half his life ago. But he said, I got sober when I was 22. You get panicked. I was 22 and I got panicked, and that was the reality of the life. Another one is, I think everyone struggles with self-love. Here's an issue of self-esteem and the hole in the soul. That's pretty much the human condition, waking up and trying to live your day in a way that you can go to sleep and feel okay about yourself. I've got to remember not to kill myself.
Let's all not forget
Yeah,
not to kill
not to kill
ourselves.
yourself,
Yeah.
which is an interesting comment in retrospect. Not beat myself up, and not get too worked over it. Then there'll be another film, be another relationship, and I'll die, and then I'll be dead. So that was another thing. And then
Well, one thing you did mention that I caught, because I always look for the hole in the soul and the disconnect, and you did say that his parents were pretty stable.
Yeah, it's a pretty stable relationship.
But that they were both working.
They both worked.
I wonder
Yes, they
at
did.
what age Mom went back to work and what happened to him after she went back to work, and what stage of the game she
Good
did
question.
that. So we don't know that
that's
information.
That's a really good question. He's just a regular guy. He wear pretty frumpy clothes. He went to one event lately that everybody was wondering if he was a pretty hoity-toity one, and he showed up in a suit that he probably slept in and had a stain on his tie. But he wore a suit and tie.
He fit the requirements for the occasion, yes?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
So, unfortunately, Philip Seymour Hoffman, you'll be sorely missed.
Yeah.
There's some work coming out of his that we'll be able to see, but that's pretty much it for him.
And this is not uncommon, is it, in the industry?
No, it's not.
There's a term that I've been talking about a lot in my therapy room called island of competency. And I talk a lot about core belief and our negative core belief, which I'd like to have you put up the panel so that if people are watching, they could see the mind map, which is a 9-panel process map that I created many years ago to describe the origins of the problem, and then the dismantling of the problem and the paradigm shift to solution. And
from, through, to.
yes, from, through, to. From the problem, through the process, to the solution. And if you look at the top row, then it describes how problems are
And
created.
if you're listening to this and you're not seeing it on streaming, you can go to www. as usual, drjudywtf.com, by the way.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Right. And so in the case of islands of competency, what happens is that people have areas where they really shine. Like, for example, somebody might be an amazing artist or an amazing actor or an amazing anything. And so in that area, their core belief about themselves
is really high.
Is really, really high.
And they're very passionate about it.
Right. But then in another area, the core belief might be really,
Right.
really low. The self-esteem may be really, really low. So sometimes people think that by immersing themselves in their island of competency, they can avoid the pain of the hole in the soul. And it doesn't work, because eventually we're all human beings. We all want to attach. We want to have healthy attachments. And when we don't start by having healthy attachments, then we oftentimes either stay single and don't attach, or sometimes we attach to the wrong people and have to go through breakups, which is another very, very stressful and strenuous
And
thing.
painful process.
Right. And so the blueprint, why I wanted you to put the mind map up, is because what happens is that at the causal level, which is the mother-infant connection level, if things don't go so well, then it's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
Then
It's
what
downhill
happens?
from there.
Yeah, downhill from there. Yeah. So we ingest the pain of the disconnect, then we digest it and react, and then we manifest it, and we encode into the fiber of our being. And then if that manifestation reflects in a core belief like, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, I'm not important, or I'm not competent, then what happens is that every time that file is triggered, that core belief is triggered, then bang, 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 panel 4, 5, 6. Chaos, clash of the isms, which is the defense mechanisms.
Right, whatever your wound is, now you're doing your darndest to defend it, because it's probably been with you your whole life. And only when there's an implosion or an explosion do things be jarred enough that you're possibly in a position to not defend your wound anymore and get help and get better.
Right.
And unfortunately, though, that's a lot of carnage involved sometimes.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And people come to my office not when they're in stable states, oftentimes they come right after.
Well, come on, we as human beings, we're crisis-oriented. So, I'm in a crisis, doctor. Fix me now.
Yes, and that's
Fix
when I
me
get
today.
the call. What prompted this call? Well, my boyfriend just broke up with me, or I just got out of the hospital. I was suffering from...
Or the court has told me I have to come to therapy.
I've gotten that too. So,
yeah, my parole officer made me do it too. So.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Well, you're a better man for it, Walt.
Oh, it's
better
the best
man.
investment you can make in yourself.
That's right. That's right. Actually, I have one case, and they're court ordered, and you know what's so really nice about this is they actually like coming now. They do. They like, oh well, we're court ordered, but we really like coming here. We feel so comfortable here. And,
it's probably a little oasis of help.
Yeah, it's just so nice when the non-compliant are then compliant. It's just like a pleasure for me.
Funny how that happens. When you talk about being fun, I wanted to touch on another little event that happened this week, the Super Bowl. And, of course, we had Pete Carroll, who was a former coach of USC, now in his fourth year coaching the Seahawks. The Seahawks was the youngest by age, aggregately, of any team that's won the Super Bowl. And all I wanted to say is, aside from the fact that I think I watched a little bit of Peyton Manning, I think he had a lot of manic moments leading up to and during the game, but they were very positive, and news says, hey, listen, why can't we win this? And the point was he just did very, very positive. Beginning of the season, I told the guys, hey, why not us? You know what? Kerry coached the team to thrive on positive reinforcement and let the individuals and the team players be themselves mentally. Okay? He for a long time, didn't want to. He was actually in the NFL, and then he went back to college and was at USC, and then went back to the NFL. He called the NFL the No Fun League.
Huh.
So he finally found a team and a process to make it fun, because what he did was he studied when he finally left the last time in terms of being fired for the Patriots of all teams. He studied John Wooden's character, who of course was the ultimate great basketball coach of UCLA, and his philosophies, and he honed him in and became successful. So there's a lot to say for being positive and trying to fill in that hole in the soul.
And there's only so far you can push a human being into behaving a certain way, and anybody would rather be led by a carrot than pushed to do it.
Yes.
And this man understood the beauty of motivating people, and the beauty of leaving shame, blame, and criticism off the table, because shame and blame and criticism in my system has no place, because it really doesn't help much. It really doesn't help a person self-reflect and self-correct, which is what I think is the better way to look at yourself, instead of looking at yourself through the eyes of I'm guilty, I'm ashamed, it's my fault. Why not just
don't should on yourself is what I say. That's
right.
SHOULD. And if you feel like you're shooting on yourself or blaming or being blamed, you know what? It's not too late to get into the couch with Dr. Judy and call up 323-284-7826. 323-284-7826. And
we love call-ins.
We love call-ins. If as we say here, do not implode or explode, but unload.
And the proof of expressing rather than repressing, which is what Walt just said, is that the expression allows us to be mentally healthier, because the more we store our feelings, the more
it's like a pressure cooker.
Yeah, it's like a pressure cooker, exactly. And so these stored feelings go sideways, and they go into symptoms. And so when they bubble up too high, then they turn into anxiety, and then they try to bleed through, and ultimately the dam bursts, and people will
explode.
Therefore explode, but they're not really exploding in terms of expressing. They're just exploding to emotionally release, and it's not a good thing.
Yep.
It's not a good way to handle it.
Well, another way that people are dealing with their hole in the soul, which came out this week, which I thought was really interesting, is they're gambling.
Oh, really?
I mean, talking about gambling in the Super Bowl, America, the United States, as far as the world is concerned, is number one and loses more than any other country. We're talking $119 billion
Whoa.
a year, which is, of course, over $2 billion a week.
That's insane.
You know,
I didn't know it was
yeah,
that high.
I mean, it's
119
huge. It's the biggest. I mean,
Okay.
second country is China, but of course they have a few more people, and it's 76 billion. So I
Okay.
mean, it's a big number by far.
Okay.
And the question is, why?
Well,
Why are so many people gambling? Whether it's the slot machines, horse racing, football, roulette, bingo, or even lotteries.
okay.
Right?
So, yeah. So,
I mean, that's the real big question.
Okay.
And there's 4 things here.
go ahead.
First is escapism, entertainment, and boredom. Okay? They're trying to escape from the humdrum of everyday life. They want a little excitement, and they dream that they might be able to win.
And we're also adrenaline.
The hope issue and the
Right.
adrenaline.
We're
right?
also
Little excitement.
adrenaline starved. Okay, we're starving for some dopamine, for some
Yes.
some
Yes.
some brain food and some good feeling, because life
That's
is
number
so
3.
hard.
Exactly.
And especially when we have a hole in the soul and we're feeling depressed and we're feeling anxious, we need something that's going to take us out. And so gambling is a mood alterer, because you're sitting there in anticipation, and even the anticipation, whether or not you win or lose, is already a mood elevator, because
Yes, it is.
It's that drug. It's that
Because
self-induced
I play blackjack,
drug.
and it's like the excitement of the next card, whether I'm getting it or the guy next to me.
Sure.
It's really cool. Which is
Yeah.
the second thing is 80% of Americans gamble at least once a year, and they do it a lot in groups. And you talked about the third one is excitement and thrill, and the fourth is self-esteem. Casinos specifically roll out the red carpet and dish out complimentary drinks, free stays and suites, shopping vouchers, and other gifts to the gamblers. So they get their ego stroked and in hopes of winning, and their self-esteem's pumped. And then lastly is the self-delusion of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which basically says is somebody feels they are luckier and can win better than others. I'm special. I can win better. And they basically, what they do is they overrate their skill and their abilities.
And that particular defense mechanism, the gambling defense mechanism, is really useful to help protect against the core belief that I am a
Addict.
loser.
Not a loser.
I'm a loser, so I'm going to go gamble so I can
Be a winner.
feel like I'm a winner.
That's it.
So,
And if you're treated like a winner, guess what? You're a winner.
winner,
Everybody's
right.
a winner. Even if you just find a
Sure.
quarter on the floor, you still won.
Sure, and they really capitalize on something that we talked about many shows ago, which is intermittent reinforcement, which is the strongest reinforcement schedule on the planet, because if you intermittently or partially, it's the same as partial reinforcement. If you get reinforced every single time, it's kind of boring. Nobody
Yes.
wants to play that game.
Yeah,
you win
yeah.
every time, well, it's nice, but, it's kind of like boring. Okay, but if you don't know whether you're going to win or not, that's exciting.
Right, you're going to stay and hopefully
Right.
win. I mean, I always love in slot machines, the highest payback, 97%. It's like, well, wait a minute. That means if you put $1 in, you're going to lose 3 cents on average.
Yeah, well, the cards are definitely stacked against us.
Yes, they are.
And then they're also stacked against us because they're betting on our emotions. And they're
Yes,
betting that we'll feel bad after a little loss, and we'll feed that money back into the slot machine so that we can feel like a winner again. And again, these
Sometimes
defense
their whole life
mechanisms-
depends on the turn of a friendly card, which is
Yeah.
the title of a song by Alan Parsons.
By who?
By Alan Parsons.
Oh, okay.
Turn of a friendly card. The
Okay.
game never ends. Their whole life depends on the turn of a friendly card.
Wow, I like
Yeah,
that.
it's a cool
Maybe
song.
we can use that on
Yeah,
one of our
maybe
episodes.
one of these years. Yep.
One of these years.
One of these years.
Okay.
And another big news for those of you who smoke, and Judy's got an amazing program for that. This is dovetailing that is the CVS, all 7,800 stores in the United States by October of this year will be not selling cigarettes anymore. They're going to lose about $2 billion in annual sales. And they might even lose more because some people probably come in the store to buy a pack of cigarettes and buy other stuff. But they made a decision that they want to be more healthy, which I find, and focus more on their pharmacy and an alternative to doctors' offices. They've got pharmacists, nurse practitioners, and counseling. And I'm trying to think of how many drugs are more healthy than cigarettes. Not that I think cigarettes is healthy.
Yeah,
So, but
well-
that's what they're going to focus on.
And for those
more
of
so, and they're hoping
you-
that others are going to follow suit.
And for those of you who do smoke, my book titled Dr. Judy's Habit Breakers Stop Smoking Plan is available on Kindle.
Yeah, you can do it. You go to Amazon, and just punch in Dr.
Kindle.
Judy Rosenberg, and you can find it.
Dr.
Or you can
Judy
go to
stops Habit Breakers Stop Smoking
Or you can
Plan.
go to drjudywtf.com, and you'll be linked to Judy's site, and you can find E-Smoke to Quit. I guess she's got a book, which has actually sold over 250,000 copies. So things are popping in that regard. And then along the smoking lines, lastly, is the Surgeon General just came out with another report, and it's determined that smoking is actually worse for you than they've been led us to believe over the last 50 years.
How much worse can it get than lung cancer and?
Well, let's see.
On
Secondhand
and
smoke is
on?
even worse than they thought as well.
Oh,
This is the
okay.
50th year of the Surgeon General's report. It started in 1964, and now they're going, and it causes ectopic pregnancies and birth defects. So we're going to talk about birth defects and issues with that in a moment. But 20 million people have been killed thus far as a result of smoking since 1964. 100,000 babies have died from sudden infant death syndrome from it during this whole period of time.
And 54 million plus people smoke in the United States.
Yes,
And 9
about
out of 10
18 to 20%.
of all smokers would stop if there was a way to do it.
Yes, they would.
Painlessly. And so, I just saw briefly as I was checking on AOL that Leonard Nimoy, I believe, I have to check on my facts. I believe that he is ill from smoking as well.
He might have
One of
smoked.
my favorite actors.
Really? From Star Trek?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a very great guy. He's quite the gives a lot of money away too. He's a good guy. He and Captain Kirk are left. They're dying off.
Yeah.
But what we're going to talk about here, and again, if you have any issues or challenges you want to talk about, feel free to give us a call. You are listening to Dr. Judy WTF here on UBN Network, amazing network here in the heart of Hollywood. And you can call us at 323-284-7826, 323-284-7826. And stay tuned. We are going to shrink a tune shortly here. We do that. What we do is we take a popular song or even take requests. You can send requests to info@drjudywtf.com, and we read the song and then interpret it through the mind map and, of course, play the song.
And by the way, I'm really excited about this. I'm setting up a Skype system,
Yes.
which is set up, and a better system is on its way.
Right,
where
we'll be
I
doing
will
testing.
be able to conduct mind map therapy, and this is going to be a very, very specific type of therapy that will actually isolate the wound from childhood. So we are going to discover your wound of childhood, and then we're going to discover
the core belief.
the reaction to the wounds, and the core belief that then DNA and patterns off of that. And we're going to put you right through the system so that you can go from the problem and the identification of the problem through the process and to the paradigm shift into solution. And people will be committing to 10 sessions. And this is a kind of like a speed course in life. It's a speed course in knowing yourself. It's a speed course in really understanding and connecting the dots of the things that have arisen in your life as symptoms, and you don't understand why you're anxious, why you're depressed, why you're unable to have intimate relationships, why it is that relationships are not working out the way that they're working, why it is that you use a slew of defense mechanisms to defend yourself against life. And those defense mechanisms are many, gambling, smoking, drinking, porn, food.
What's wrong with porn?
All right. Okay.
Food, yep, our food, although our diets are horrible to start with. You know, I want to interject. We talked last week about a patient you had, a little boy, who had 1-2 sessions, and you called me this week and got the big question from mom, which I thought was a funny question. This talks about the impact and how quickly the mind map that Judy's been using really does work. 10 sessions may sound like a lot, but those of you that have been in therapy for years,
Yeah.
it's
Walt,
not a
I'm
lot at all.
truly sending people away after a couple of months of work.
Yep.
I'm just
Yep.
saying, they're saying it, I'm saying it, and I'm moving them to as needed basis or once a month or once every few months. And the reason for this is because, number one, I find, and I've been through a lot of therapy. Don't forget that they make you go through therapy.
Yeah, Judy
when
is
you're
actually a licensed
studying.
clinical psychologist and marriage and family child counselor. So yeah, she's the doctor.
And you know what's amazing is that none of my therapists, and many have been very brilliant people, have ever asked me some basic questions like, and we're going to talk a lot about this tonight, was I born prematurely? What's your neck?
Were you breastfed?
Was I breastfed?
Right.
Did I have child care providers that cared for me after birth? Was my mother nurturing? Was my father around? I didn't get asked any of these questions, and these questions are the key to my psychological investigation, if you will, of the patients that I see. I need to look at the cause. I have to look at
Well, the foundation.
what happened.
Yeah.
What happened so that now Mary or Johnny or whoever's in my office can't seem to sleep at night or can't go to school without throwing a fit and going into panic mode? Or why is it that people can't stop filling the hole in the soul with alcohol or food or what have you? And you need to look at cause, because if you don't look at cause, here is what happens, okay?
You're going to repeat it.
I am. You go into symptom management mode, okay? It's always symptom management mode. Oh, Dr. Judy, can you manage the symptoms? I can, but then a new one will pop up. If I go to cause, then we're going to go to the motherboard and dismantle the problem. And it takes a little while. Children actually catch it a lot quicker than adults do.
Well, sure they do.
Right, their minds are really open.
They don't have as many walls up and stuff.
Exactly. So, and the other thing that happens is that people go into the world of pharmacology, and they end up at a psychiatrist's office who tries to manage the symptoms from a
drug's perspective.
Yeah, point
which
of view.
is just a blast.
Right, and if
Numb me from the pain as opposed to trying to find out why I'm in pain.
Correct. And now what happens is that the patient, I have one patient, as a matter of fact, a patient that I saw today, who we decided together that because he's so defended against the cause and we can't really work unless he's got some emotions available to work with, that he decided that he's going to go off of his antidepressants so that we can access the feelings so that he can heal. Yeah. So that these feelings can come up and be exposed to the air, so to speak, and start being expressed and not repressed. Because with the medication, they never really get expressed because they're just coated over and they're dulled down, and we can't really do the work.
Years ago, this flew me. I dated a lady for a little while who was a workaholic in a man's world, and she was so burnt that she quit and went and sailed she had a sailboat. She sailed for 2 years, but she had to actually spreadsheet her emotions.
Spreadsheet her emotions?
Spreadsheet her emotions. She would, anger. She'd put that on a spreadsheet and try to figure it out. She'd put joy and, all these different emotions. She actually said she spreadsheeted them.
What?
And I'm thinking...
Why?
Yeah, she was so analytical. That was how she interpreted.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going, wow, Excel,
Wow.
huh? Okay. I wonder if she excelled at it, but of course we didn't.
I also wanted to say, for those of you who are taking medication, there is a time and place for medication.
Yes, there is.
And again, I look at medication as a psychological cast, and just as if we break an arm or a leg, or we go into some sort of a break, a physical break, we too also sometimes go into some sort of a mental breakdown. And sometimes it's so difficult just to get up in the morning or to cope with life that we need that psychological coding until we can get a grip on what's going on. However, if we don't go to the cause, we don't get to truly heal from the inside out.
We're not going to get better.
Yeah.
So getting back to the infamous question that your your little boy's mom asked. You know where I'm
Right.
getting at? The
Yeah, I
question was
do.
and is,
What are you doing to my son?
what did you do to my kid?
Yeah, and I thought, oh, okay, well, what's she trying to say here? She goes, I don't understand, and I don't understand. What are you doing to her? Because she's been seen by many, many people for many, many years, and my son just loves coming there, and he seems to be figuring it all out. So what are you doing? And I told Mom that I'm connecting the dots between things that were unconscious in her son's mind and making it conscious so that the little boy doesn't have to live in mystery and fear and anxiety and can understand that his perception of the world was distorted
Yes.
by some events that then shaped his way of behaving and reacting to the world. And once this boy saw that everything was based on a lie and everything was based on a distortion, you could just see him going,
The aha.
oh,
Yeah,
is
the
that
aha.
why I didn't bond to my mom? Is that why? Is that why? And I'll talk more about it as we get deeper
Yeah.
into our topic
Right,
of,
and
of this
we're
evening.
gonna get a topic, but the last thing that Judy said to me was that the kid said, I have gotten more in 3 sessions.
Actually,
Was
two.
it 2? Oh,
Yeah,
excuse me.
actually,
2
yeah.
sessions than 3 years with other psychologists, or was it a psychologist, single, plural?
I think she worked for 3 years with one particular.
Okay, one particular psychologist. He
worked for
did.
3
And
years.
I mean that to me says a lot about the impact of what Judy's accomplishing and doing with the mind map.
And again, not many people ask the question: were you breastfed? Were you an incubator baby? Were you nurtured by your mother? What happened? What happened to cause? It's a really overlooked question. So, if any of you are listening, if any of you are in the field of psychology, I would love to hear from you, because I just didn't realize this until years into my practice. And yes, I was trained analytically and so on, but you'd be surprised at how few of these questions my analyst therapist did not ask me. Very surprising.
It makes sense. Yeah, they're right. It's a different perspective.
Different perspective.
So the issue here, talking about with our time left, is preemie babies. Now, a preemie baby is anybody who's born earlier than 37 weeks, and about 12% of the population is that, so about 1 in 8. Okay, and there's an issue with, as Judy's talked about, with bonding. And I just wanted to read a little issue about that. It goes, bonding is interrupted. It's tricky business with preemies. Usually you can't even hold your baby at first. Parents often feel shock, numbness, and disappointment. You have this image in your head of how the perfect birth and bonding should be. And says one mom, and her son was born 29 weeks. The worst thing about preemies was the feeling of the rug being pulled out from under you. You feel so helpless. Still, there are ways to get to know your newborn.
Yes.
And so the issue is with preemies, many times they're put in incubators. And, you know, that the human bond, human contact is really, really difficult. They're saying the best contact is throw a cap on the kid. It's called the kangaroo. Put a cap on the kid, put a diaper on them, and just have them lay on either mom or dad's chest. Have the most skin-to-skin contact. And
That's right.
their development from in their skin and certain things in terms of warmth happens a little later. So they need all the warmth they can get, and of course the best way to do that is skin-to-skin contact.
And not only the warmth, they need to hear the heartbeat.
Yes.
They need to have
Yes.
the rhythm of the body rising and falling while the mother's breathing. That, in and of itself, is very, very soothing.
Very
and
calming and soothing.
Don't forget that we cannot self-soothe. So babies left in an incubator, and I have a lot of people in my practice currently who I call my incubator babies, have been very traumatized because they did not receive the consistency of the touch, the breastfeeding, the eye contact. They did not receive the mirroring, and as a result, they suffer. Have one that suffers from alcoholism. I have one that suffers from feeling isolated, even having a very, very hard time having a relationship. Have the little boy that I talk about is an incubator baby, and he suffered from inability to sleep well at night. He couldn't sleep through the night, and so this is real, folks. This phenomenon of human disconnect is real, and it's so unconscious. People don't believe that. That phase of life can have an impact for life.
The
and
rest
yes,
of their life.
And yes, it can. I was reading this morning that now they're saying that babies should sleep with mom and dad till age 3. And so
Now, what did they implement? How? I mean, put them in a bassinet or in the room?
No, just sleep in the bed
in the
with
bed.
the parents, right? Yeah. And that contact comfort is what they're needing for healthy development. Children who are soothed by their parents are healthier mentally. When you're not busy in anxiety, if you're not busy trying to regulate your emotions, and it is a big job, and that's why there's so many people out there on medication, because we never learned how to regulate our emotions because our parents were not there to nurture us and teach us how to regulate our emotions. So now we're regulating our emotions through drugs and other defense
either self-regulating
mechanisms.
or with their prescription drugs or non-prescription drugs, right?
Yes. So incubator babies really, what we need to do, in my opinion, is have a better meeting of minds between science, medical science, and psychology, because I understand that that baby needs to be in a certain environment to live. That just makes total sense to me. But what the doctors really have to understand is that for that baby to emotionally survive,
mental health,
they also need an environment. So I love that kangaroo idea.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, it was mentioned more than once, and what little I could find on it. The craziest thing I found, which I really want to touch on really quick, is in Coney Island back in where's my article go? Back in 1903, they had incubator wards in Coney Island that lasted 41 years. People would pay starting out anywhere from a dime to 15 cents to see this ward where and it was all glass. You could see the glass. They had incubators of babies in there, and the care that was given was free because of the money that people came to see it, and people would graduate, grow up, and come back and see the new batch of incubator babies. And this is from 1903 till 1941 in Coney Island. It was just amazing. The problem was at the time babies had terrifyingly low survival rates, and there wasn't any special equipment in the turn of the century. We're talking about the last century, of course. And they did that, and it went from 39 to and in 1939 they talked about changing it, and it pooped out in 41. So wow. I mean, you talk about throwing kids in incubators. I mean, it was a spectacle at Coney Island for over a generation. 38 years.
38 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we also have to remember that premature babies are oftentimes born premature because mommy smokes or mommy takes medication.
Yes, smoking is a huge issue with preemies.
Right. As a matter of fact, I believe 9 out of 10 premature births are caused by smoking.
Yeah. So
double check my facts, but I think I have that in my Habit Breaker Stop Smoking Plan as one of the facts. And so you have to understand that mothers who do not care for their babies in utero, meaning that they don't stop smoking.
Yeah, they care more about their addiction to nicotine and smoking as opposed to this, infant that's growing inside them.
Right. So if that mother is already predisposed to care more about her tobacco needs than her child's needs, then you can imagine that she's probably not that attuned to the baby. So then that will also be
that'll reflect it. Yeah, that'll be reflected after once the baby's born as well.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So now we've got a double whammy. So now we've got a premature infant who has a mother that's not particularly nourishing and not particularly attuned to the baby. So now we've got a baby that's not touched and a non-nourishing mother. Put that together and we've got a bigger hole in the soul. And then later on we've got consequences like that particular person smokes more, drinks more, has many relationships to fill the hole in the soul, eventually has to go on antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, and it's a vicious cycle. And if they'd only just come in and take the time to go to the cause so that we can heal the human disconnect and they can actually express what they repress and once and for all heal.
I don't know. I don't want to give up my Prozac.
You don't?
No,
Really?
It's just amazing.
I got some M&Ms for you.
But only the green ones.
I'll save them for you, okay?
I know Christmas is over. Only the green ones.
I'll save them for you.
And on that note, it's time to shrink that tune.
Okay,
You ready?
Let us do it.
Okay, this song is called Somewhere I Belong by Linkin Park. And I'm going to read it, and we're going to shrink it. And it's another Dr. Judy WTF exclusive. When this began, I had to say all, and I get lost in the nothingness inside of me. I was confused, and I let it all out to find that I'm not the only person with these things in mind.
Okay, so here is this feeling of emptiness, which is what I refer to as the hole in the soul. A person has nothing to say. So this of course is in tribute to the incubator baby who is confused that of this nothingness, that there's really nothing there, and there's a confusion around it because there's supposed to be an emotional regulator, and that emotional regulator is out of touch and out of reach.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So do they.
Yeah. But all that they can see, the words revealed, is the only real thing that I've got left to feel. Just stuck, hollow and alone, and the fault is my own. And the fault is my own.
Yeah, there's that hollowness and that feeling of alone.
And they're shooting on themselves.
And children always perceive that it's their fault, no matter what. Why did mommy and daddy get divorced? Because I was a bad little girl, and they fought over me all the time. Therefore, it's my fault. Why do I feel alone? Oh, well, because I deserve to be alone. It's all my fault. I did something bad. So from the eyes of a child, it's always their fault. So why are they hollow and alone? Something to do with them.
I want to heal. I want to feel what I thought was never real. I want to let go of the pain I felt so long. I want to heal. I want to feel I'm close to something real. I want to find something I've wanted all along. Somewhere I belong. And
you see the nebulousness of this? I want to find something I've wanted all along, but they don't know what that is.
They don't know what it is.
Because it's all unconscious. Because what they really wanted was the connection. And they want to erase the pain of the lack of connection. And they want to heal the disconnect from the mother-infant. So all of this is about the healing and the desire to erase the pain and the desire to find how they can fit in and belong, and I love the words to this song because it just goes so well with the theme of today.
And I've got nothing to say. I can't believe I didn't fall right down on my face, looking everywhere only to find that this is not the way I had imagined it all in my mind. What to do? I have but negativity, because I can't justify the way everyone is looking at me. Nothing to gain, hollow and alone, and the fault is my own. The fault is my own.
And everyone's looking at them, and they feel weird, and they feel displaced, and they can't connect to people because, after all, no matter who's around them, they're always feeling in this lonely, hollow space within themselves.
And they think that people looking at them think they know what they know, even though they know they don't know.
That they're see-through, they're hollow, and people can just know exactly that.
Right. And I will never know myself until I do this on my own. And I will never feel anything else until my wounds are healed. I will never be anything till I break away from me. I will break away. I'll find myself today. Wow.
Well, it's really wow, because the person who wrote it is saying, you know, I'll never feel anything until my wounds are healed. So this person instinctively knows that these wounds have to be healed, and these wounds have deep roots. So until I will never be anything till I break away from me, by that I'm reading into this that they have to break away from their old core beliefs, from their old self-perceptions,
yes.
The old lies, the lies that they bought into.
And again, folks, remember, even though you may begin with a gigantic hole in your soul for whatever cause or whatever reason, it really is not how you start that matters. It's how you finish. And that's actually part of the success of what the mind map and Dr. Judy Rosenberg's got is it will rewrite your DNA. It will redo your blueprint. So you finish better and stronger than you could possibly imagine. You don't have to stay in what you've got. And the last line here is, I want to heal. I want to feel like I'm somewhere I belong. I want to heal. I want to feel like I'm somewhere I belong. Somewhere I belong. So that's Linkin Park, Somewhere I Belong.
Love the words.
Yeah, and we're going to play the tune. So thank you for tuning in. We know you've got lots of options to doing that. We will continue our series of Hole in the Soul next week. I'm Walt Lusk. You've been with Dr. Judy Rosenberg, and you can write us at info@drjudywtf.com. And, of course, we are Dr. Judy WTF.
And check out the new book, Lucid Darkness.
Lucid Darkness. It's available at
Judy
Anaheim.
Rosenberg.
It's on Amazon. Punch up Dr. Rosenberg, BERG, for those that don't know.
And it's only $5.99 on Kindle. And for moms who are smoking, please check out my Stop Smoking book, Dr. Judy's Habit Breakers Stop Smoking plan.
So until next time, God bless everyone.
God bless.
And here's our song. I can't justify the way everyone is looking at me.